joining us right now, the director of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. Dr. Walensky, always great to have you. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. I want to start right there with what we seem to be hearing about these early Omicron cases. At this point, anyway, people seem to be showing mild symptoms. Can we conclude yet that perhaps Omicron will be less severe than the Delta variant?
Good morning. Great to be with you. First, let's just back up for 1 second and comment on the fact that today we have 90,000 new cases of COVID-19 every day, and that about 99.9% of them continue to be Delta. So we can't lose sight of the fact that the vast majority of what we have here in the United States is Delta, and we know how to tackle Delta with vaccines, with boosters, with masking, and all of our prevention measures that we have been using all along. It is the case that we have the tools now, and we're in a much better place now to tackle new variants. And it's because of those tools that we're able to find these variants right now. And so now we have this new variant, we have Omicron, and that's going to lead to more questions and more science that we need to do. As you know, we've seen Omicron in about 5 states now, and we're continuing to do investigations with other states as probable cases emerge. But what we can say, based on what these cases are showing, some have mild disease, some may have more severe disease. Many of them are vaccinated, and what we're seeing now is that many of the people with mild disease were the vaccinated people. So we still have a lot of science to understand how these vaccines are working against Omicron, except to say that we know for every variant that we've had, it's better to be vaccinated than unvaccinated.
We have been told by experts like yourself that it could take up to a couple of weeks before we know more. So this morning, are we any closer on that?
Yeah, as we examine disease severity associated with Omicron, we need to take into account, of course, your age, of course, your background comorbidities, your history of prior disease, and importantly, your history of vaccination. And those are the studies that are actively ongoing, not just to understand how our vaccines are working, but to understand our disease severity and also to understand transmissibility.
Are we at the point in this now, nearly 2 years in, where vaccines need to be changed in order to act more like umbrellas and cover all of these emerging varying strains?
I think that I'll go back to what I just said, which is it's always better to be vaccinated than unvaccinated with every variant of Delta of SARS-CoV-2 that we've had so far. I think we really do need to follow the science here and understand how our vaccines are going to work against Omicron. What we can say, though, is that science, we are actively doing the science, industry and pharmaceutical companies are actively looking at whether they need to alter the vaccines in order to tackle this. It may very well be that our vaccines actually work quite well and continue to work quite well against severe disease, and those are the studies that are ongoing.
President Biden announced this plan to combat COVID as we head into these winter months. Part of this new focus is focused on at-home testing, making it free, making it more accessible to people. How do you envision this changing the fight against COVID?
We're doing active surveillance in lots of different ways. We're doing rapid at-home tests so people can take control of their own symptoms, to do that at-home test, to self-identify and self-quarantine, to potentially come forward for a PCR test if their rapid test is positive, and then we can potentially do genomic sequencing of your PCR test. We're also scaling up tests in airports. We've scaled up tests in many of our major international airports: Atlanta, Newark, San Francisco, JFK, and LA, as well as doing 10,000 sites that have free PCR tests all over the country. So we're doing a lot to scale up testing, and we're really asking people to come forward when they have symptoms to get a test.
Dr. Walensky, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.